Hi, and welcome to another edition of Let's Give It a Voice here at the Voice of Hope Media with myself, AC. It is normal to hold expectations of ourselves, of other people, and of our relationships. Sometimes, however, such expectations are, are so unfair. So, today we are going to give a voice to gender stereotypes and the effects on our relationships. Today we have two gentlemen on our studios. We have Francis, we have Jerome. Jerome is actually here already, and we are still waiting for Francis to join in. I am AC. I am the host here today, and you are tuned onto the Voice of Hope Media on Facebook and also on YouTube. So we are broadcasting live on these two social media handles, Facebook and YouTube. Here at the Voice of Hope Media, we educate, we empower, we inspire, and then we give hope to individuals who are facing complex and life challenging issues so that they should be able to speak up, to speak out, know that they will be heard and they won't be judged or stigmatized. I help and I support these individuals to be able to excel and be able to conquer the fears that come along with challenges, no matter what type of challenges. So, how taboo is your topic? How taboo is your experience? How emotional or how sensitive do you see your experiences or any topic that you know of? Here at the Voice of Hope Media, we give it a voice. It is a safe space where you feel free to speak, you feel comfortable, you feel confident, and you know you will not be judged and you won't be stigmatized. Despite the many roles that men and women play in today's world, some people still judge others based on how they think males and females should act. Stereotypes are ideas about how people will act based on the group to which they belong. Many children grow up identifying certain characteristics as belonging only to boys and girls. Should that still be happening nowadays? Should that still be going on? It's a surprise that it is still happening. It will shock most of you that this is still going on right in our homes, in our workplace, in our communities. But today, we are going to give a voice to gender stereotypes and how they affect our relationships. It affects people differently, different dimensions. Yes, today we will give a voice. And we have Jerome here today, like I said, and he's going to introduce himself while we are still waiting for our other guest speaker to come onto the studio. So, Jerome, you're welcome. And I really want to thank you in a very special way for accepting to be a guest on our studio today, given that it was short notice. I know we had been discussing about this since last year, and finally we are here. We are going to talk about this. So if you are watching, share. The first thing you should do is share this broadcast, invite your friends to watch. If you have any questions, pop them here, ask us, and we will be able to answer. And if we cannot answer your questions, we will refer you to specialists in this area. So you're welcome once more. If you're on YouTube, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you are here on Facebook, thank you for liking our Facebook page and for sharing this broadcast. I am AC and welcome. So Jerome, over to you and for your introduction. Who is Jerome God?
Is just a regular person. I don't come with any big credentials that I am here to announce. I am just somebody who has just benefited from having lived here for close to 50 years on this planet Earth, and along the way, I have gathered a few kernels of wisdom and some um, and a lot of um, errors as well, accumulated errors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just here to try to throw some light into this topic. I was trained in the University of Boya as a biochemist, and then I went to Europe in 2000, no, 98. That sounds like decades ago. Oh, man.
Wow.
98 to do my master's in biotechnology.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, what follows was me going from country to country, kind of in Europe. And then
Mm.
I finally ended up here in Canada, in Ontario.
Yeah.
And I have been in business, running a small company. And yeah, I'm here now. I have been in Canada since 2005.
Okay.
I have two beautiful kids, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. And I am aware of one little mama. She's called Mom.
Oh my God. I,
Mom, if you're watching us, Mom, I know you are still very young to be watching at Facebook, to be checking things on Facebook, but someday you'll have to see this video. And we love you. We haven't seen you yet, but I know I'm one of your adopted aunts here in the UK. So someday I'll have to come and see you. So thank you so much for that introduction. And let's bring Francis in.
Hi,
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 Francis. How are you?
hi. Good, good. Just
hello,
just
Thank,
reached
Francis.
home, so I just made it in time.
thank
Yes.
you so
Not
much.
about time difference.
Uh-huh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your efforts in making it. So we were just doing introduction and Jerome has already introduced himself. So over to you. Who is Francis?
Hi,
Who's
I
Roger
am
Francis?
I am Roger Francis. I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm here to at least support ACM Meg on her shows because the shows are excellent. I know she would deserve to have more viewers and more people who are communicating and joining in and being more active on the show. So I'm here as a big support. You know, she's one of my biggest influencers, getting me onto the Facebook. Right now, currently, I have reached maximum 5,000 friends who I communicate daily with. So it's quite amazing to see the change from me actually not really being on Facebook to be that active and have actually I have maxed out the friend user limit. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes back up. So it's pretty amazing to see when you get involved with people how things could change drastically in your life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And what do you do in
Well,
life?
I normally am a stationary packer. I do
Mhm.
exporting stationary items all over the Caribbean,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
that's my main work. On the other side, my side job is being a computer technician. I regularly service people computers. I repair windows. I do that as another side thing which I like to do. Also,
Okay.
I like to motivate people like ACMX as she can see on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
I do spiritual notifications. I do things to keep people on a positive side rather than you come on Facebook, you just post anything, you know, it's good to have somebody who can motivate you and
Yeah.
find things that can help you grow in life and understand things and, you know, change your situation.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I know you've been a keen follower over the years, and I really appreciate that. It's hard. It's rare seeing someone you connect with online and then you just
That's
keep
good,
going.
yes.
The person doesn't give up on you even when
So,
you are not online. That's the type of person you are, and I really appreciate you. I really
thank you
appreciate
very
you
much.
for that. And I'll just use this opportunity to say a special thank you to you. So whoever is watching today, our topic is gender stereotypes and how they affect our relationships. So what we are going to do is we are going to actually look into what gender stereotypes are. We are also going to identify and discuss gender stereotypes. We are also going to talk about ways through which gender stereotypes can result in unfair and even harmful situations. And then finally, we will also look at how these gender stereotypes affect our relationships. Is it our relationships with our brothers and with our sisters? Is it relationships with boyfriends and girlfriends, relationships in the workplace, or relationships as spouses? So we are going to look into all of those. But here we have 1 hour to be live. So we don't really want to stay here for too long. So we dive in, and I'll start with Jerome. And just tell us, what's your interest in the topic, Mr.
Well,
Nga?
my interest in the topic, um, you actually helped me. You actually sparked that. It's been something that has been niggling away at the back of my mind for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time that we actually got this idea to have this show.
Mm-hmm.
It was on International Men's Day. And up to that moment, I hadn't actually thought about a day that was dedicated to the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked by the fact that most of the men in my Facebook friends list, nobody even acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And it struck me at the time that there is something not quite right about that. In that if we are going to have an equal, progressive society,
Mm-hmm.
we should be in a position where we celebrate both genders,
Yeah.
we celebrate both sexes. And then I have been thinking a whole lot about the changes that are afoot. It's almost, if somebody were to come back from the 90s to this time, to this era that we live in, I think the first thing that they will be struck with is that life, we are filled with abundance.
Yeah.
The communications are unprecedented, but there is something that's happened. The pace of change is so fast, and in no area is this felt the most than in the roles that we have traditionally attributed to both genders. And I think that if we are going to arrive at the position where we have um, a gender neutral world, for lack of a better expression,
Mm-hmm.
there is going to have to be some kind of offering wherein people are gradually introduced to viewing people of either sex or gender as just people, where you don't have these expectations that people are going to behave in a particular way
Mm-hmm.
based on their gender. And so I think that the situation in which we find ourselves now calls um, for a bit more openness, a bit more discussion, a bit more education, quite frankly, on what our expectations are or ought to be with respect to our gender.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's brilliant. Yeah, I remember when we actually started talking about this topic. It was when, I think, I can't remember the exact date, but that day was supposed to be International Men's Day.
Hmm.
And yes, it was quite amazing that on a whole social media, men were not talking about their day. But on the contrary, when it's International Women's Day, women are all over the place talking about their day, celebrating their day. Is it that is it that there's something about men that they do not want to celebrate themselves, or is it that they've just become too used to International Women's Day that it's taking them by surprise that there's a day to celebrate men? Is it some sort of an inferiority complex from your side, the men's side, or is it that you don't just care, you don't see the need? So, which is why we were actually looking, or is it just our expectations that we expect you, us the women, we expect you to be able to celebrate your own day, same as we do? Because when we celebrate ours, we celebrate it to the max, sometimes to an extent where you guys don't like it. But that's how it's been, and that's how it's always going to be. We will always celebrate it in our own ways that make us happy. But let's look into what exactly are these gender stereotypes. Before we go into that, so I'll get Francis's opinion on what is his interest in this topic.
Oh, well, coming back to you on the Women's Day and the Men's Day.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of men actually have grown up not to be vocal or the highlight of a day. They are
Mm-hmm.
tend to be feeling as just to be the provider for their children, for their family. So
Mm-hmm.
when they are highlighted, it's not something that is, what I should say, it grows on them to be outgoing like women. Most
Yeah.
women love the attention and the highlight for them to see that they are celebrated. Men
Mm-hmm.
take it as just a normal day, but true to the fact they do appreciate it, but expressing that outgoing attention is not really there for men.
Okay.
All right, so
Mm-hmm.
that's my view on it, and I've been married 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of years where I do really get celebrated, but that doesn't mean she doesn't care about me or appreciate me. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't take it to feel a way that because I'm not celebrated in an International Men's Day, that I am lacking something. Most men
Okay.
are, are quite happy to be just noted but not highlighted as
Yeah.
expressed as women.
Okay. So in your opinion, it doesn't really mean we don't. So in somehow from what you are saying, we don't argue. You guys don't actually need a day to celebrate yourselves.
We just need to be mentioned, but we wouldn't really have that wholly attention. That's a little bit too much for us. I
Okay.
believe that's how it is for men.
Mm-hmm.
We just would like a gift where we can feel happy in our own private way, not expressive as how women, like how Valentine's Day is. Men will use that day. I find Valentine's Day is more men's day than a women's day because we get to go out there and find things to show our appreciation to our significant other. So we
Okay.
will use that day as a day of highlighting us in what we could show as our appreciation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think on International Men's Day, women should treat it like a men's Valentine's, where they should go out and look for things that show their appreciation. I think men will appreciate that much more than just it's a men's day because we don't really get that kind of side. Women more get the treatment on Valentine's Day. You carry them to a nice movie, you bring chocolates, you bring flowers, you romance her a little bit, you know
Mm-hmm.
you do things in your own way to make her feel appreciated.
Okay. Hmm. That's interesting. That's another way of looking at it. Jerome, what do you think? Let me unmute you. What do you think?
I am thinking, it's the African and Caribbean way of looking. We men are supposed to be the silent type. They are not
Mm,
supposed to show any emotion at all, if at all. They are supposed to just just um, provide for their family. Um, and I find that the error is upon us.
mm-hmm.
We have to start making men to be more expressive of themselves, of the
Yeah.
way they feel, of the way, because what is happening is that the roles that we have traditionally attributed to the man,
Mm-hmm.
those have been slowly eroded. And what's happened now is that in its place, that place of surety, that place wherein you are quite sure about what your role is,
Mm,
about your place in the world, it's getting
okay.
eroded. And with that, it's coming with a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
So when you are African, if you're from the Caribbean, as the man, it's still very much a man's world where we come from our
Mm-hmm.
background. But then the time is upon us where everything that we believed or trusted in what gender roles represent is going to
Mm-hmm.
go away. Then what? What's going to happen? So it's about time where we start getting that fluidity of thinking, of acting, of behavior, such that we will be prepared. That's what I meant when I was talking about the off ramp. We need an off ramp. If you are getting off the highway, there is this ramp that you get onto that slows you down
Yeah.
until you get onto the side road.
Yeah.
We do need that now. We do need that now. And if we keep clinging to those roles that have traditionally been attributed to us, we
Mm-hmm.
will not be ready. There is no other way of putting it. We will not be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Men need to start acting and getting in touch with their feminine side, just as some women, most women actually, I find, are getting more and more in touch with their male side. There is this persona, this bifurcation
Mm-hmm.
of goals. And truth of the matter is, if you look at biology, our biology,
Yeah.
there is very little difference between us. Very. We and in terms of psychology, in terms of the way we look at the world,
Yeah.
it isn't that much different. There is something that happens to us in that we imbibe the rules that tradition that our societies have thrusted upon us, and we start acting them out. It's like wearing shoes that don't really fit. And it's about time we started learning that it's okay to act like a woman sometimes, to act like a man sometimes. And the sooner we get to that position,
Mm-hmm.
the better it's gonna be for all of us. Because this planet can only handle so much different. And we have to get on it. There's no other way of putting it. So no, Francis, I think that that role that we've had uh, from where we came from is
Mm-hmm.
getting away. A couple of weeks ago, I put up a post on Facebook in which one brilliant journalist at the Atlantic was talking about a trend that is happening now in the world where
Yeah.
people are not having regular sexual intercourse. People are having sexual relations with them, either themselves or with toys and all that. Now we can decide to bury our head in the sand and pretend that's not happening, and
Mm.
pretend that our society is so, our communities are so void of the traditional values that we have impacted to them over
Yeah.
the years, and think that it's not going to happen. But it's coming. It's just a matter of time, and we had better start preparing for it.
Mm. That's brilliant. And now we know over the years, we all know that most of you men, you've inherited things from the past. What do we do? How can we help you guys to move out of your shelf? You actually mentioned that it's high time men started at visiting the feminine side of them. What exactly do you mean by that? Or if if I understand in my own way, you cry when you feel like to cry, you mourn when you feel like to mourn, or what exactly do you mean by the men having to start visiting the feminine side of them? Sometimes they have to behave like the woman, sometimes they have to behave like the man. Just throw a little bit of light on that, please.
I think you got it. That's it. That's it. Basically, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
In listen, let's look at child rearing, caregiving.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I don't know, I don't know about Francis, but where I come from, you rarely see the father that engaged in raising the child.
Okay.
Now, what has happened over the years is that things have started changing.
Mm-hmm.
People have started realizing the fact that a child does not just need a father to be that presence who comes in at night and leaves early in the morning,
Yeah.
only to provide for them. They need that emotional connection. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if society has in their stereotypical way looked at it that, you know what, it's just the woman's role to give care to the children, to take care of their emotional needs.
Yeah.
Um, Now that things are changing, particularly with us who live here in the West, the economic circumstances are such that caregiving has to be shared. Cooking, cleaning, all of those things need to be shared. Now, if you were of the mindset that these particular roles are reserved for a particular gender, can you imagine the confusion you'll be going through when
Mm-hmm.
your environment imposes it on you and you have no clue as to what to do? That's why you are seeing what's happening now. There's a lot of contention at home. There is a lot of frictions going on because the expectations are different.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I was just gonna say. So yes, AC, you got it. You had your finger on the pulse. That's what it means.
Good. Thank you so much for that explanation. So now, Francis, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's identify some of these gender stereotypes. I know Jerome has mentioned the expectation that because a woman has given birth to a baby, she's the one who is supposed to take care of the child, and then the man is supposed to go out there and fend for the family. But at the same time, the child may grow up not having that bond, that emotional connection with the father. So, what are some of these gender stereotypes that are really troublesome nowadays?
Well, to me, I think the most troubling stereotype is both men and women expect the relationship to be financially stable or having a lot of money. Most men and most women look for partners who are what we would consider rich or well off, that they could provide for them. Only
Mm-hmm.
to realize entering that relationship,
Yeah.
the money and the status doesn't really make them happy. Some people believe, as they see in the movies or they've been told by their parents, look for somebody who has plenty money, who has
Mm-hmm.
cars, who have big house, and actually when they get in that relationship, they realize that they're lonely. The person are always out. They're always looking at their image. They are not really giving the person the correct attention.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they have children, they not really attentive to the children. They expect the woman to be like a housemaid. She's doing all the cooking, the cleaning, the servicing. And the man himself thinking that's the way the relationship should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another note is that we cannot read each other's minds. I am married for 25 years and I'm yet to still understand certain things my wife do. Sometimes she's vocal, sometimes she's not vocal. Sometimes I am vocal and sometimes she isn't vocal. Sometimes I might be trying to express a certain feeling towards her and she's not really listening because she's wrapped up in her own feelings or she's not ready to accept what is being said.
Yeah.
And everybody has their moments when they would like to communicate something to their partner, and their partner isn't really at that moment ready to receive that information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the conflict is in today. A lot of relationships where we don't find the right time to express and communicate to each other for we to know where the problems exist.
Yeah.
I cannot read your mind and you cannot read my mind. Today
Mm-hmm.
I might feel down and depressed, and I might be looking for your comfort and support. And that day you might be studying either to go to church or to sit down with your friends and have a good time online, and you are not available.
Yeah.
Also, we have to start to, I think for people who really wants to build their relationships, to really find that moment where, okay, you see, this week on Thursday evening, let's sit and just have a firm communication where we can open up and express how we really feel about how
Yeah.
things are going, so that you can build on something or at least
Mhm.
be heard. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times people tend to build certain emotions, not
Mhm.
express any communication, and then
Okay.
get angry when they are not being heard or being communicated with. So
Okay.
that's where the conflict begins and resentment starts. And sometimes you, as a man, you may come home and you may think your wife is everything's okay with her. That time she wants to express things to you, but you are not available to listen.
Okay. I think, yeah, yeah, we are going to be, because we are already getting into how gender stereotypes affect relationships. We are going to talk about that towards the end. So at the moment we stay on identifying and discussing the gender stereotypes. What about you, Jerome? What are some of the gender stereotypes that are common nowadays?
Um, I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
And maybe it's going to crystallize for all of us the impact that or the what gender stereotyping is all about.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I had a very close friend, well accomplished, super intelligent, beautiful woman. And then one day, single, single at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into talking, and she said, "You know what? At the time, she had just started dating this guy.
Mm-hmm.
She says, of this guy, that this is the first real man I have ever dated.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to explore that statement. What does it mean? What do you mean the first real man you've ever dated?
Yeah.
And she said, well, he's the first guy who doesn't let me pay rent or do anything. He takes care of me. Um, he he looks after me. He is romantic and all that. And then I thought about something. I thought about mainly about that part of taking care of her. And it struck me that this is somebody who grew up in a society wherein identifying who constitutes a real man. It's so intertwined to the idea of the man taking care of her financially.
Mm-hmm.
She is now this accomplished, intelligent woman, and she still doesn't see that that doesn't fit her. It doesn't, because as far as um, I could see of their relationship at the time, she was
Yeah.
making way more money than this guy, way
Mm-hmm.
more. But yet, we have this expression back home that "Naman picking money is sweet," which roughly translated into English means it's the
Yeah.
man's money that is sweeter or better.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes better. And this is something where we we are putting pressure not only on the man but on the relationship itself.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what happens if this guy suddenly loses his job, wherein he was able to use his own meager resources
Mm-hmm.
related to hers to provide for what she traditionally considers to be the role of a man. What happens then if he loses that job?
Yeah.
And it has happened because the man gets this idea that he's only a man because he's providing in the relationship. That when the tide changes, okay, he is just adrift. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know that you know what. It's perfectly normal to stay at home and take care of the kids. It's perfectly normal to stay home and prepare a good meal for your wife.
Yeah.
It's perfectly normal to think of a good romantic gesture. Go get her some flowers. Go get her a nice bottle of wine for when she comes back home. And you see what this does. It sets up these expectations on what a relationship should constitute and make it virtual, impossible to have a meaningful, deep relationship with another human. In that you have these cobwebs that are just around the whole thing, and the expectations are just skewed because of the way we view each other.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to say something. If we recognize the fact that when two people meet in a relationship, okay, that psychological compatibility is key. Psychological compatibility is key. If it is, we accept that to be true, then we also have to understand that there is this woman who, by virtue of their psychology, by virtue of the way they were raised,
Yeah.
have a temperament that is closer to that of the man.
Mm-hmm.
And you may see a woman, a man, who has a temperament that is closer to the female. Now, when you are talking about compatibility in that regard, these two individuals will need to know each other for who they are, not for the stereotypes that society places on them. The moment they start to reverse the role, the moment the man starts asserting that traditional role that is attributed to him, guess what's going to happen? It will fall apart because that's not the way they didn't meet each other at that level.
Yeah. Mm. That's a brilliant way of looking at it. So now let's go into how talk about the ways which these stereotypes can be unfair or harmful to our relationships.
Well,
Francis?
I have one understanding on what happens. You
Yeah.
know, men sometimes are the sweet loving caregivers, and they will try to take on all the worry, the troubles, the responsibilities, all the hardships of a relationship is.
Yeah.
And the other person tends to leave all that for one person to bear. Sometimes it's a bit too much,
Yep.
right? And sometimes on the female side, they need to be able to stand up and understand that they have to hold on to their responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes men enable women to not get their act together. And it could be both ways. Sometimes a woman may take on all the worry and trouble and leave a man not able to withstand or stand up on his own and handle certain problems. We are not supposed to really let people feel that you alone supposed to take the full brunt of all the responsibilities, all the troubles, all the stresses in the relationship. It's a two-way street. We need to able to stand on each other's firm footing where you know that the person that you're with, you're not enabling them, you're not allowing them to be focused and be an individual, as so to speak. Their responsibilities that they need to handle emotionally, spiritually, that you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't take on fully because the person needs to know that they have to handle certain things. And sometimes women pass it on to the children,
Yeah.
make them vulnerable to leaving other people to solve their problems that they should solve on their own.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of people tend not to bring happiness every day to a relationship. They tend
Yeah.
to bring what's troubling them, what's worrying them, and expect their partner to try and solve everything. When they don't have the answers to everything either, they are coping with what they've been brought up to or what they have seen outside, or they may get advice from friends how I should handle this situation. And they may take an advice and try it in their own relationship. That doesn't mean it will work, but at the end of the day, everybody should be able to pull their own weight, and one person shouldn't feel overwhelmed or having the total responsibility of handling the whole relationship be it
Okay.
you're married or you have children, you should not be enabling somebody if you know they have the right to solve their own problems, right? And you should try your best to at least give the person that comfort knowing that they're not alone in handling
Mhm.
the situation.
Yeah. Does that happen usually because we go into relationships with a lot of expectations? I remember mentioning at the beginning of my introduction that it's normal to hold expectations of ourselves, of other people, even our relationships. But sometimes these expectations are unfair.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's
It,
unfair.
yeah, it's unfair. So how unfair or how harmful can they be? Some examples,
Well,
Jerome?
well, for me, I think most men tend to, when it affects them greatly, they,
Mhm,
instead of trying to fight with their partner, they use outlets. Some men choose drinking, some men
mhm,
choose smoking, some
mm.
men choose to just not be around. Some men go into depression and remain silent.
Yeah.
Some men choose to become angry at certain situations and express their stressfulness in an angry way, which is unhealthy for both partners and children. And
Yeah.
it escalates when the woman realizes that he's angry, she becomes angry, and then it becomes an explosive situation.
Yeah.
And
So it becomes like a vicious circle. It keeps going round and round and round. Let's concentrate now on how these stereotypes affect relationships. It may be relationships between our spouse, relationships between our brothers and sisters, or between our friends. How do they, which type of stereotypes will affect our friendships with other people? Will it be because I'm expecting my friend to behave in a certain way because he is a man, or is it because the man will expect me, the woman, to behave in a certain way? Or maybe in a relationship, I'm being expected to be the first one to send a text message to say hello. Then when that doesn't come, well, it was supposed to come from you because you are the first person who is always greeting first. What do you guys think? These
Listen,
stereotypes.
uh, the way I look at it, the way I
Mhm,
look at it is that we are in a typical catch-22 situation right now in the world in terms of gender relations.
mhm,
We, if we do not put a stop to it, if we do not find a way to um, redirect our focus, we are in for decades,
okay.
decades of strife, decades of not actually not communicating with each other anymore. There is something afoot. There is something afoot in that we take whatever is happening to the world and we aggrandize it. We make it to absolute crisis now, and then we overreact. Now, you look at what is happening now in the world, this same world that we live in, people like seemingly intelligent people with all sorts of technology that should be used for connecting people together,
Mhm,
allowing people to express themselves so that they can better understand themselves. What do we do with it? We use it to fight. We use it to demonize each other.
yeah.
We use it to tag other people and label them sexist. The moment they express um, something that goes against what we think, the society looks at and says, you know what, this is sexist. This is that, this is that. Now, I am not denying it. By this, I'm not denying that there is sexism still, an overwhelming sexism in the world today. Far from it. But I know from experience that you need to encourage more of what you want, more of what you want to see in the world, as
Okay.
opposed to ha- always highlighting what you don't want to see.
Okay.
Positive reinforcement. It works
Mm.
every time.
Yeah.
Now, you only hear about the man in situations wherein one individual or a few individuals go out there and kill someone out of rage or whatever it is. And from looking at this, when you look at this closely, you realize that most of these things are exaggerated. They are sensationalized in such a way that there is more, it's like a feedback loop. People get angrier, they attack each other more, they label each other sexist, and it's just spirals out of control. Take the word toxic masculinity. What exactly does it mean? What is so masculine about manhood that is toxic? Is there a female variant? There should be, don't you think? Why is it that why is it that every time anything that is linked to the mind in today's world,
it's negative?
You get that notion that it can be attacked, it can be berated. At the same time, when you read the man, men are dying in disproportionate numbers. And at this rate, it's not going to be some kind of plague that is going to come in and kill the head. They are going to kill us because they are tired of feeling really bad about themselves every day. I had a close friend on Facebook a couple of years back. And I don't know, some days you just have a bad day. Maybe somebody said something to you that set you off. And you write something or post something. And this guy started off by pointing out to me, you know what, this could be construed as sexist. And I said, okay, but that's not what I meant. And I explained to him what my intentions were. Do you know what he did? He went to my Facebook profile, took a picture of mine from my timeline, and made a post in which he labeled me a sexist and proceeded to tag all my friends on that post. And I just found that he overreacted.
Yeah.
So why are men like that? Why is it that women are not like that? Why do women not attack each other for being, I don't know, being sexist as well? Because frankly, there are lots of women who are sexist.
We attack each other in so many ways.
He did that, and frankly, I never overcame it because you cannot take one isolated incident. Because listen, you are going to make mistakes. That they call it life. When you leave, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to alter some things that you regret. The important thing is to recognize it when it happens and to apologize, or to say, you know what, maybe my interpretation of it was not okay. But to go out and start attacking someone, labeling them without giving them any recall, that's what is wrong with the world today. We are so politically incorrect and sensitive that people are not having the conversations they should be having to prepare us for what is going to come next. Because what is coming down the pipe, if you think there is strife now, think again. Think again. Think about Me Too version number 50. As it is right. You see the example I told you about people not having the closest interpersonal interaction.
Yeah.
Having sexual intercourse. It's a direct result of all this nonsense that people keep attacking each other. People, you go out to dinner on a date with somebody now, you want video evidence. Before you see somebody on the street, you say, can you sign me? Is it allowed? What are we becoming? The level of strife in gender relations is at an all-time high. And we are not tackling it. We just sit down, oh, this one said this, and it's sexy. I can't believe you just said that. Guess what? If things are going to improve, we must create room. Here comes that off-ramp. That off-ramp, where people are going to stumble, where people are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we are still going to treat them with compassion and understanding.
That's true.
Until we do that, we are in for a really bumpy ride.
That's amazing. I don't even know what else to add. Francis, do you have something to add before I
I,
ask the next question?
I think he's so right on this.
Yeah,
And what I will add to it is, as I told you before, I've been married 25 years, which
yeah,
is very long.
a
So
long time.
I will
Mhm.
use my experience. You cannot expect your partner to always agree with you. You can't. It, because nobody's perfect. They are going to make mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. And you cannot be judgmental on someone's likes, dislikes, or opinions. You have to respect each other.
Yeah,
And, and these days, as in 2021 with the COVID, where people are isolated with each other, they are going to find out that their significant other has changed. They may be one type of person when we were now married or now starting out together, but after a few years in a relationship, the person has changed. They have found other things and other personalities that are now birthing or now coming out. Some women who were passive and quiet are quite vocal now. The quite opposite of what you have married into when you expect this
Exactly.
to be one way, quiet, nice, gentle woman. She's now outspoken. And now you now has to adjust your whole life because
Exactly.
you can meet a new person. It's not the same person that you have met
yeah,
all those years ago and you fell in love with. Now you meet this vocal person. She doesn't like this, she doesn't want that. You have to adjust. Now, you are not a vocal person yourself. So
Mm.
how do you adapt to that lifestyle? So it's something that women needs to look at. Yes, we appreciate you all being vocal and straightforward in what you all want, but you have to remember a man was never accustomed to being that vocal and that upfront, which is something that needs to change in 2021. We need to be a little more vocal and be more realistic in finding ways to address issues early, not late. Don't wait till it's a 2 week old or a month old or 5 months old. And then you say, you know, that happened 5 months ago. And you know, women have great memories. They can remember something
yes.
from
Mm,
4 years
date and
and
time.
they will bring back up that same situation. You say, what situation? I can't remember that, you know. But they can remember detail for detail. And that is something that men these days have not been trained by their parents or their peers how to deal with a vocal woman, a woman who wants certain things in her life. She's a new woman, she's vocal, she's out there, she's outspoken, she's telling you what she likes, what she doesn't like, and it's not easy for a man to handle. And then sometimes we don't know how to be gentle in receiving the information as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that where the discussion between the two parties have to be more often. So there are many
Okay.
times when I am ready to discuss something with my wife and she's not ready to listen. She's there to listen, but she's not really there. She's just only in the moment. And then she will have a moment she expects me to listen to her. And then I will tell myself, but when I was talking, you wasn't really listening. You
Mm-hmm.
was just sitting, being quiet. But that doesn't mean you were receiving the information. So this is something relationships needs to work out right now today. Finding that time and that bridge where you can talk something and she can talk something and the two of you can see where it's a benefit to the relationship. Not just voicing your concerns or your problems or your frustrations, finding solutions so that you can be happier in the days that go forward. I have witnessed over the years that, you know, we enter some heated arguments and we quarrel and we fuss and we fight. And you upset, share upset. And then at the end of the day, when you keep quiet and you start to think over the situation, you realize I could have handled that situation differently.
Yeah.
You know, and
So,
you'll have that regret over time. But
mhm.
we should try to always make that moment where the communication lines are open for both sides.
Mhm. So which actually means that at the beginning, maybe at the beginning of a relationship, we should try as much as possible to minimize or to avoid stereotypes, because just because you know that you're getting married to a lady or a gentleman who is not vocal doesn't mean that he or she will continue being that person
Yes,
after 25 years.
will change.
I personally, I was growing up, I was a very quiet person. I never used to talk much.
Right.
Many people, many of my classmates, my friends who knew me then, they knew me as a very quiet woman. They wouldn't imagine me sitting here hosting a talk show.
Correct. Correct.
So which means, if you knew me then and now you still think that Clarice was still supposed to be that person, is that not some sort of a stereotype, which is a
Yes, it is.
bit,
Yes, it
it,
is.
it's not fair if you still have to be expecting that, because AC was like this 20 years ago or 25 years ago. She's still going to be like that. No, people do change as the years go, and we also have to, I think we also have to learn to adapt to the changes as well. I don't know what you think, Jerome.
Uh, I think that the way I look at it, I look at it, I look at this relationship thing. I look at it as partner. You
Mm-hmm.
enter into a partnership with somebody. Partnering like in a business way,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And it means I put it in that way because I want us to start taking our relationships, our romantic relationships, our relationships with our peers, the people we meet, with some seriousness, just like we would take the relationships that we build in our businesses, in our every.
Mm-hmm.
I find that when it comes to relationships um, that are romantic, relationships with our peers, with our family, we don't really accord the same um, the same regard or the same esteem that we are forced by virtue of the fact that we depend on business relationships for our livelihood, that we don't give them the same amount of respect as it deserves.
Mm-hmm.
As to
What
change
will that? What will the reason be? Or
of
will it be because we are looking at one of the relationship as it has more financial gain than the other, or is it because in a relationship you just get used to the other person and you start taking each other for granted?
Yes, I
What is that? What's that reason why at a certain point in life we seem not to treasure, or we seem not to value our relationships anymore? That spark
AC,
is no longer there. That fire, is
AC.
it still because of stereotypes at the beginning?
No, not at all. The stereotypes help. They help you get there. But what really happens that people grow apart is the tiny resentments. Not heavy things. Not like you did something that was so weighty that could not be forgiven. It's
Mm-hmm.
just small, tiny slights that you take every day.
Mm-hmm.
Those expectations that are not being met.
Yeah.
The smile that you expected when you announce an accomplishment that didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
Punishment that you thought you deserved that did not
Mm-hmm.
come. It's
Yeah.
all those small. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
That's what kills relationships. And to tell you the truth, at the root of it all is the way you were brought up. Is the way you were brought up. Is the way your psychological profile merges or does not with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I have met situations wherein, in hindsight, it was very apparent where we were going. I could
Okay.
tell, I could tell if I was not so drunk with the way I felt. If I had just taken a step back and said, okay, where is the logical conclusion to this? We have this big elephant in the room that's not being addressed. Okay? Like it might be childhood trauma, it might be the relationship he or she has with the mom, it may be the relationship he or she has with the father, all
Yeah.
those. You need to take those into account because
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that form the man or the woman. Now, if you don't take it into account and you just get drunk and you're thinking, you know what, she's so cute. I like the way she sounds. I like the I like how brilliant her eyes are. I like how she's able to take care of herself.
Mhm.
When the rubber hits the road, all those things are immaterial. Because like one one older friend of mine used to say, he used to tell me, if you think you are in love, give it 5 years. Give it a couple of years. And then let's talk.
Well, well,
Yeah.
what I would say, as again, I'm here 25 years onwards.
Mhm.
And what I have noticed is from 25 years back, in the beginning, the attentions was much greater. Like now, the kind of attentions my wife would give to me and I give to her, it's much different. It's not like when you're in a new relationship, every minute you're calling the person, every minute you're talking to the person. I know we're in the age where we have WhatsApp and we have the internet, you tend to find over time in the relationship the attention draws less and less. Some women give the attention so much to their children that the husband is left behind. You know, the husband gets jealous. Yes, he's child getting everything and I not getting nothing. When time for bed, oh I tired, I can't do nothing, I can't talk with you know, I've had the children whole day. And the man was out all day working hard, doing all sorts of things, looking for his little attention and realizing the children are getting old. So that's another stereotype that we don't really seem to focus
Mr.
on.
Mr. Francis, I think you finally got hope. You are seeing it. You are
Right,
beginning to see it.
right,
In
and
that is a typical stereotype. Wherein you see how you felt right now, it came from the heart.
right,
Maybe you experienced it at the personal level at some point in your relationship,
right.
or
Mhm.
maybe a close friend did. Now, but at the beginning of this show, you said, Men's Day, I don't really care. You know, it's like mentioned from now, it doesn't really matter. It does. Believe it or not, it does. Prior to coming to this country, I barely knew when my birthday was. I didn't. I didn't know what my birthday
And here you are. You started celebrating your birthday a month in advance.
was. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that.
Mhm.
We owe ourselves, every one of us on this planet, we
Yeah.
owe ourselves some validation. We
Thank you.
owe ourselves some self
Correct, correct.
love. If you
Uh,
don't love yourself enough, a little bit, if you don't celebrate yourself, believe me, you are going to be a miserable person to be around. I know
Yeah.
all of
that's true. That's
that.
true.
I know
And you
all of
won't and
So
you won't be if you don't love yourself, you won't be able to love the next person, or you won't be able
that.
to love
Exactly.
the
exactly.
to relate with the next person because you'll be full of resentment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we have been talking about this thing, we have been skidding around the issue and saying, you know what, men don't need all that attention. Hell yes, we do.
Okay, now
Yes,
let's stop there.
we should be in a position where we
Yeah,
are going to receive it.
correct, correct.
Okay.
Fine
Let's
now.
stop there. Let's stop there. Let me ask a question. You've said it. That's what I was looking for, and it's come out. Men do need that attention. We know that you need it, but we want you to show that you need it. We want you to tell us that you need. We most often we don't want you to keep being tough, proving trying to prove that you are strong. I'm capable of everything, even though deep down there's that little boy down there who is crying out for help. Our expectations, maybe I may not be able to speak for every woman, but expectation is show it, say it. If you're weak or you feel low, say it. Like Francis said,
Well,
you
I will give you my
you
example.
cannot read somebody else's mind. Yes, I cannot read your mind, but you have a voice, you have a mouth to open it
Correct,
and say
correct.
it. So I will ask you guys now, before the end of our show, what are your expectations what are the stereotypes that you guys have as far as we women we have, or your expectations? What do you want us to do? You guys, you have the opportunity now to say it as it's supposed to be. What should we do on your day? Should we celebrate for you, or should we let you lose? I should put it that way.
Well, as I said before, I would like International Men's Day be just like how women celebrate Valentine's Day, looking for the gifts, looking for the appreciation. Men
Mhm.
should get the same. You know, a man shouldn't say on that day, he just hears a woman say, Happy Men's Day, I appreciate you. Show it in certain ways. Cook for us, carry us certain ways, show us that appreciation, get the
Mhm.
family together. You know, in that way, we will feel more appreciative of that.
Good.
At the sometimes it don't even need to be gifts. Sometimes it could be just sitting and having that attention.
Mm.
You might have some women, soon as the friend call them, who they run across and it's attention for 5 hours, 4 hours. You all have all the women discussion, and you all women are fully attentive into whatever you all are discussing. Give us that same kind of appreciation and time. You know,
Mhm.
give us that full conversation, just like how we have in one now. It's important. Men
Mhm.
know that their conversations are valued,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
That's what I would want for all men to have that in that International Men's Day, that we feel that we are appreciated, but you showing us that attention like we do when it's your Valentine's Day, it's your Mother's Day, you know.
Mhm.
So we go all out, we look to spend money, we look to sit down and give you all that your time. That's you.
Yeah. Hmm. This this is actually interesting, and this actually gives me a reason to understand why on that International Men's Day men were reluctant in celebrating themselves. Wow, thank you so much for that answer, for that honesty, Francis. Jerome, I'm waiting on you. What do you say? Bring out that little boy in you.
You know what? What Francis says there makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They, but my take on the matter is this: men need to take charge of their emotional. They
Yeah.
need to get in charge. They need to get in touch with their feelings. And the men that we have right now, particularly African men,
Hmm.
they are not ready for it. They are scared. They are running scared. I used to be. A few days ago, I had a close friend die.
Yeah. May so
And
rest in peace. Is that
when he passed
Linus?
away, I knew this guy so well
Hmm.
that for I heard it in the night, and then in the morning I put on some music, and I was thinking about the time we spent,
Hmm.
and I found myself sobbing uncontrollably. And you know what I did? I took a picture of it and I put it on Facebook.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of people came out and they said, "This guy's always so well put together. He's always so coherent in the way he writes, in the way he thinks. How come? Why would he commit such a faux pas? Why would he put a picture of him crying on Facebook?" I did it for a reason.
Yeah.
Men need to express themselves more. If we don't, as I said, we are what is suppressed is going to be expressed. Sometime in another venue that is not appropriate for it. We
Yeah.
need to get more in touch with our feelings. And that starts with men being comfortable enough to tell another man, "Hey, I love you. I see you.
Yeah.
I I appreciate you. I know who you are. I can see you are in pain now. I'm here for you." Because that's what is killing men the most. You see, I am going through a divorce right now. And for 22 years, I had what I thought was a blissful marriage. I thought everything was going just fine. And I did everything to let my friends know that everything was perfect. In hindsight, it wasn't so perfect. And those moments of strife that I had, maybe I should have shared it more with my male friends. Maybe they could have rescued my marriage. Maybe they could have rescued me. Maybe they could have done something to diminish my anguish. Maybe they could have
True.
made me get
Understand.
out of that place maybe 5 years earlier if I had explained to someone, an experienced person, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what's going on, you know? But men don't talk to each other. That's what's killing us. And talking to each other, man talking to man, it starts with celebrating that man's name. That day when you celebrate your friend, when you celebrate your a male colleague, don't wait for the woman to give you license. Take agency of your own life. I made a point the other day wherein I said, hey, are you guys realizing what's going on? You go to schools in the West and you will be hard pressed to find one male teacher. There might be hundreds. You would not find one male teacher. So tell me, who is going to take care of the male emotional needs? And hardcore feminists will tell you it shouldn't matter. We are trying to raise feminine kids, all of them. They should be feminist children, all of them. Good. So who's going to train them on how to be a man? This good version of the man you want them to be. Who is going to train them?
Yeah. Whoa, these are great points expressed today. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And if you are still tuned on here, you're on to the Voice of Hope Media with myself, host A. Simbeng. Today, we are giving a voice to gender stereotypes and the effects on relationships. If you've noticed, a lot has been discussed today, a lot has been touched, and our men here on the studio, they are actually um it's good to know that being vulnerable is not a weakness. And I am actually seeing that vulnerability today. And I can only praise you to here today. I wish there were more men watching this video, but if you are not watching right now, you can still watch again later. You can still watch a replay, or if you are interested, we can still have the same topic, the same show next week, because this is an interesting topic that we really need to talk a lot about. We really need to give a voice to, because as we've seen today, many of our men are suffering in silence, and all they need to do is to be able to give a voice to that which hurts them, to that which they think it's too emotional to talk about, to that which they think it's too sensitive, or that they are scared that if they mention it to one of their friends, they will mock at them, they'll look at them as a weakling. But it's not. Giving a voice to whatever hurts you, to whatever pains you, will only go a long way to transform lives. Change your life, it will change the life of the other person. And eventually, it will also change your relationships, whether with your spouse, with your children, with the entire family, or with the community. So before we end today, I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes just to, in a nutshell, how do we move from here? Stereotypes, as we've seen, they're affecting relationships negatively. How do we move from here? What are some of the positive things that can be done to avoid this in order for us to have better relationships in the future? Francis, 2 minutes.
Um, well, what I would say, the most positive point that could come out of this discussion is for women to sit with their significant other and discuss issues, being open. Do
Yeah.
not stay silent if you're feeling uncomfortable about something or you dislike something that's happening in the relationship. Please
Mhm.
find some kind of time, space. It may not be in the house. You can carry your significant out somewhere and you all have a discussion on your issues, before it gets out of hand or the person feels like you cannot talk to them anymore, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we need to keep having often open discussions. It can't be
Yeah.
just once a year, once a month, once a week, as often as possible until the next person gets the message.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be unhappy and silent. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And that's
Mm.
that's my point. Don't be unhappy and stay silent. You know,
Mm.
voice your concerns until you can find a common ground, a resolution, or a communication where the person could see your point of view. You know, because a lot of us right now are going through what we could say stress, but we tend to like to stay silent and keep it inside. Don't talk to anybody and just keep it in, and that just not working anymore. It's destructive. It sends you into depression. It's
Mhm.
unhealthy. You can fall sick, and you go to a doctor wondering why you're feeling sick, and it's because you're not expressing your inner problems to nobody. And I'm doing it to you for your brother, your sister, your mom, your husband, even your friends. You're not talking. Not talking is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Find somebody to open and express yourself. You'll find that you'll feel happier. You will release your stress. You're able to solve some problems. You're able to find solutions. You're able to help yourself and others because you learn from other people's problems.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Francis said it is not helpful being angry and staying silent because you are just hurting yourself the more. That's my take home message today. And Jerome, what about you? What do we do from here? Where do we go from here?
I think I have pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say. Um,
Okay,
I
final
wrote,
word.
I wrote this morning or the morning before. I wrote a small post in which I said I titled it "Falling to Strength." You fall, then you gain strength.
Yes.
If you don't fall, you can get up. If you don't get up, you can you can have that confidence that you will do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I'm trying to say by that, need to become really close friends. If you are that person who thinks that you have to stay on your feet no matter how much is all your way, and if your male prerogative to always be on your back foot, to always be that person who is this stoic, this indestructible
Yeah.
male who puffs his chest and prances around as if he owns everything. You are doing yourself a disservice. It's about time we, the men's folk, recognize that the roles that we have played on this planet have been detrimental to us. We choose war over talking. We we prefer boastfulness over negotiation. We have caused untold destruction. For Christ's sake, how many wars have we fought? Maybe we could have avoided some of these things if we just talked a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
as I say this, as these words are leaving my mouth, I can think of more than 10 people who just say, man up, man the hell up. Don't say it. And my response to them is, okay, that's what we've done in the last 2,000 years, if we are to go by the Christian doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we now? How, what benefits do we have to show? Is it the destruction we have wreaked on our environment? Is it the way children we have become conveyor belts of creating dysfunctional children who become dysfunctional fathers in their own state? What are we doing? Isn't it about time we started doing things different? And I'll end it.
Thank you so much. Yes, everyone. Yes, thanks for watching. And as Jerome said, it's about time we started doing things differently. It's about time we stopped telling people to man up or just to move on. It's about time we have to handle some of these issues. We have to avoid stereotypes because they are affecting our relationships. Yes. Thank you so much for watching today. And it's been a pleasure having you guys today. Hope
Thank
to
you
have
so much.
you.
Good
Yeah,
to be here. Thank you,
you're
ECMA,
welcome.
for having this platform. I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me to come on today. It was a good pleasure. It was a good display of, communication. We all
Mm,
learned something today, and I hope someone somewhere around the world listens to this broadcast and
yes.
take something positive from it. We all have issues. Nobody could escape having an issue in their own life.
Yeah,
It's good to just take something positive, not
it
just
is.
discussion. Take
Yeah.
something positive from it and use it to help make you happier, make you healthier. And that's my take from this program.
Mm,
Something to move forward for the new year for 2021. Open and discuss things and express yourself. Don't stay silent. It's
thank you
not
so
good.
much. Yeah. And the Voice of Hope Media here is a safe space. It's a platform where we feel free, we express ourselves, we speak up, we speak out because we know that people will hear us. And at the same time, they will not judge or stigmatize us. So today, guys, we've given a voice to gender stereotypes and the effects on relationships. If you watching, you think we should do another edition of this same topic, maybe with ladies. Let's hear what the ladies have got to say, or a few more men. Get in touch, contact us, then we will give a voice to the same topic again next week. Without which, we are still going to see you again next week for another edition of Let's Give It a Voice here at the Voice of Hope Media with myself, AC Meng. And have a good evening, have a good weekend, and stay blessed and love you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.